This deep dive. We are going to be take a look at all those cool sources you sent in. Looks like we're going to be getting into some psychology today and dreams and overthinking. Super fascinating stuff.
Yeah, I love these topics. Like, honestly, who doesn't spend at least a little time thinking about this stuff?
Right. It's like everyone has these experiences, right? We
Yeah.
all dream. I mean, most of us. Anyway, we'll get into that. And we all overthink sometimes, right? Like some of us more than others, maybe. But yeah, it's just so interesting. And your sources are full of like, I don't know, just like fun facts, but also useful stuff too in all these areas.
Totally. I mean, we're going to cover so much, but just to give you a taste, ever heard of the bystander effect? Basically, why sometimes, like, if you need help, a crowd is like the last place you want to be.
Yeah, so crazy. Okay, so we'll definitely dig into that. And oh, also dreams. We're gonna like totally debunk the myth that some people just don't dream at all. Spoiler alert, everyone dreams.
They do. They do.
Yeah. We'll talk about lucid dreaming too. That's always so cool. And then of course, like weird recurring dreams we all seem to have, those themes that pop up over and over again.
Yeah, those are fascinating.
And then like on the overthinking front, like I'm sure we've all been there, right?
Hmm.
Spiraling into a pit of worry. But there are actually these techniques like this thing called the 5-4-3-2-1 method that can really help ground you in the moment. We'll get into all that.
It's going to be a good one.
Okay, so let's kick things off with psychology. It's like there's all these sort of hidden forces shaping how we act, and some of them are pretty surprising. Like you already mentioned the bystander effect.
Yeah. Basically, it's this thing where, like, the more people are around to witness something, like, an emergency or someone who
Hmm.
needs help, the less likely any one person is to actually do something.
It's like the diffusion of responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Everyone assumes someone else will step up, which is so wild. Like imagine you see someone drop their groceries. If it's just you and them, you'd probably help. But if you're like in a crowded street, you're way less likely to do anything.
It's sad, but it's true.
Makes you wonder, like, if we all knew about the bystander effect, maybe we'd be more likely to actually step up and help.
I hope so. Okay, and then there's this other bias, the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's like a little less about helping others, but, still affects all of us. Basically, it's this idea that people who, like, aren't very good at something are often the ones who are most overconfident.
Oh, so true. It's like that saying, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. It makes me think about all the times I've been, like, totally sure of myself, only to find out later I was completely wrong.
We've all been there. Like, everyone thinks they're a great singer in the shower,
Yeah.
right? But maybe not so much in reality. It's a good reminder to, be humble and always keep learning.
Totally. Okay, so moving on from, like, these social biases, let's talk about something a bit more, I don't know, neurological, like mirror neurons.
Oh, I love mirror neurons. Like, they're these little brain cells that fire not just when we do something, but when we see someone else do it too.
It's like how we connect with other people.
Yeah.
Or, when you see someone yawn and then suddenly you have to yawn too, that's mirror neurons at work.
Yeah. Or, like, think about how we learn by watching other people. Like, when you were a kid learning to ride a bike, you probably watched your parents or older siblings,
Like,
right?
so, like,
So your mirror neurons were firing away, helping you, like, internalize those movements. It's how we learn all kinds of skills, from cooking to playing an instrument, all sorts of stuff.
mind blown. Okay, so sticking with the brain stuff, we've got to talk about the placebo effect.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy how powerful belief can be.
Oh, yeah. In research, they'll give some people, like, a real drug and others a placebo, which is basically like a sugar pill, right?
Yeah.
But even though the placebo doesn't actually do anything physically, people still experience real changes just because they believe it's working.
It's so powerful. Okay, so last one in our psychology rapid fire round. The Zeigarnik effect. Have you ever noticed how, like, unfinished tasks just keep bugging you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, they stick in your brain way more than the things you've actually finished. That's the Zeigarnik effect.
It's because our brains, like, crave closure. So when something's left unfinished, it creates this tension that we want to resolve.
Like those cliffhangers in TV shows, right?
Yeah.
They keep you on the edge of your seat, wanting more.
Exactly. They totally exploit that Zeigarnik effect to make you keep watching.
So clever. Okay, so moving from, like, waking thoughts to the stuff that happens when we're asleep. Dreams.
Dreamland.
First of all, let's just get this out of the way. Everyone dreams. It's a myth that some people don't. Maybe you don't remember your dreams, but you're definitely having them.
Yeah, everyone dreams. And they actually play a really important role in, like, memory and stuff. During REM sleep, which is when most dreaming happens, our brains are busy processing everything from the day, strengthening memories, and like basically cleaning up the mental clutter. So important. Okay, now for the really fun stuff. Lucid dreaming. Have you ever had a lucid dream?
Oh, yeah, a few times.
It's wild. Like suddenly you realize you're in a dream, but you're still dreaming. And then like some people can actually control what happens in their dreams.
Yeah, you can like fly or talk to anyone you want or, I don't know, visit other planets. It's like having your own personal VR world.
So cool. And there are actually like techniques you can learn to increase your chances of lucid dreaming, like dream journaling and reality testing.
It takes practice, but yeah, totally worth it.
Okay, now like let's talk about those classic like recurring dream themes.
Yeah.
You know, falling, being chased, showing up to an exam, totally unprepared. Why do we all seem to have these same weird dreams?
You know, there are a lot of theories about that. Like some people think those common themes are connected to like universal anxieties and fears we all share. Like falling could symbolize feeling out of control or insecure.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, and being chased, that could be about feeling threatened or pressured in some way. It's like our dreams are trying to tell us something, you know?
Very cool. Okay, last stop on our deep dive. Overthinking. It's something we all do, but sometimes it can get like a little out of hand, right?
Totally. Rumination is a big part of it, which is like that tendency to get stuck in negative thought loops, you know, replaying past mistakes or worrying about things you can't control.
It's exhausting. And it can lead to all sorts of problems, right? Like anxiety, sleep issues, trouble focusing.
Absolutely. And it can also like totally paralyze you. You know, you overthink every possible outcome and then you end up not doing anything at all.
Ugh. Paralysis by
Mhm.
analysis. I know that feeling all too well. So how do we stop the overthinking train in its tracks?
Well, mindfulness can be super helpful. You know, just bringing your attention to the present moment without judgment, like focusing on your breath or the sensations in your body, it helps you detach from those racing thoughts.
Such a good practice. Okay, any other tips for like taming the overthinking monster?
There's this technique called the 5-4-3-2-1 method, which is super grounding. Basically, you just notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
It's like bringing you back to your senses, literally.
Exactly. And, you know, it's worth noting that overthinking isn't always a bad thing. Like,
No,
sometimes that deep thinking can lead to creative solutions or new ideas. It's all about balance, you know?
totally. So I guess the key is to like harness the power of thought without letting it run our lives. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from like the quirks of human behavior to the mysteries of dreams and the sometimes helpful, sometimes harmful power of our own thoughts.
So much good stuff.
Hope this has given you like a little more insight into how your own mind works and, maybe some tools to help you navigate those tricky thoughts and feelings. So as you go forth and, continue to think about all this fascinating stuff, I want to leave you with this one last thought. We talked about the bystander effect, right? Like how sometimes in a crowd, no one steps up to help. So what would you do differently if you were in that situation? Would you be the one to break the cycle? Just something to ponder. Keep those curious minds engaged. And thanks for joining this deep dive.